good evening, and good evening. Welcome to Tuesday's segment of Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Boulden-Hammond. And listen, tonight we have DJ Moscato, and for our Samara Self-Care, our once-a-month therapist, let me tell you something. Oh, you know what, Samara? I can announce something that I am officially licensed trainee, addictions drug trainee counselor.
Stop it.
Yes. So yeah, that's
Stop
right.
it.
I'm actually sporting my shirt from work. Um, Addiction is giving up everything for one thing. Recovery is giving up one thing for everything. So this was
Wow.
actually done by our nurse, Carla Penny. Carla, she probably be watching a little bit later
I
on.
hope so. You're giving her a shout out. She might as well
Yes,
hear.
yes. And Remain, thank you so much. But yes, so since the last time, yeah, hey Rebecca, how are you? Thank you so much. Hey T, thank you. Yes, it's official now. It's official. So I'm actually be ready to graduate in November.
Oh
Okay,
my
it's
God.
getting down. It's getting down to the wire. Yep,
Oh
yep,
my
yep. So
God.
I wanted to tell you that surprise.
Surprise! No, really, it's amazing. I mean,
Surprise.
I work currently with a lot of the substance use population, and really it's unique in so many ways because it influences so many other populations that we're so familiar with.
Right.
You could be amongst everyone and happen to have some kind of substance use or an addiction of some sort. Recovery is really huge when it comes to like different kinds and places and spaces. You're gonna do so well with it, Michelle. I'm really excited about that for you.
Thanks. Thank you. And it's I've been for the past 3 weeks, I shared this last week. Um
Hmm.
that when you're in your calling, when you actually can get people at right at the moment, people like that, when you're walking in your calling, because it's like people are just walking in off the street now.
It feels effortless. It feels effortless.
Yes.
That's what you're aiming for. And I relate to that.
Yes,
It's
it's like it's a non-ending, non, stop. People are hurting. People, and since May is Mental Health Awareness Month, I just
yep.
want, actually, I want to bring this on. So, audience, I want you to share, because look, where are you going to go to get at least a couple minutes of free therapy? So, this is once a month here with my friend here. Once a month, you're going to get some free therapy here.
I feel like we have to do a different remix with this.
Yes.
And what's really important about this is that if you relate to this kind of conversation, keep tuning in as opposed to like, oh, this is free insight. No, this is like a great way to listen to two friends who like really share the same passions and appreciate one another and just like really getting the same impressions that they think they have, but they don't know where to find it or like relate to others. So we're really giving them that kind of
Yeah.
understanding of things.
And you're right.
Um,
It's really when you don't. It's not a price tag on what you do when you're passionate about it. So,
right.
I'm knowing that's in my calling to help. So I'm
I
here
can.
to help. But I just want to take the time out, to everyone. I just want to do a moment of silence for the 15 who were killed in Texas at the elementary school, because no one should have to, feel that pain right now. But here at Upfront Mind Body, so we want to be aware of that. So we're going to take a quick little moment of silence for those individuals and sending prayers to those loved people who have lost loved ones, and that they be comforted. All right, all right. So, Samara, we know this is mental health. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, How have you been doing? That's how I want to ask. How have you been doing? Because I know you have some big, exciting things that'll be happening in a couple of months,
Yes.
and with leading with stress, because I know it can be stressful dealing up with what's going the big occasion that's happening.
I think any big occasion gives the impression that there's going to be stress involved, but knock on wood, and just I'm grateful for this because not everyone feels this way when they're planning some kind of gathering, in this case, a wedding and whatnot. It's been really effortless. And I think it's because of making sure that my approach to it is very different than just like jumping in or feeling pushed or last minute or anything like that. And that's how I've been taking care of myself too, in the sense that overall I've been doing well with, just trying to manage my, not just expectations on things, but how am I handling my obligations and just being so present in the best version of myself. If I'm not doing well or if I'm have to hold back in some way, that's going to be a wake up call for me to like readjust and just figure out things differently. Um, so I think that's a good way to kind of answer like overall I've been doing really well. I can't complain too much, Michelle. I can't. And when I work as often as I do, it really doesn't feel like work. It feels like I'm just living presently with what I'm aimed to like want to do with myself and like my time and my well-being, how I want to share that with the people around me, as opposed to like, oh, I'm at work and I have to like deal with others and clients and whatever. It's not, luckily it's not like that for me. I think it's, and I'm sure it's not like that for you either, Michelle and DJ Moscato. I feel like when you guys are like really involved and you get to like network and be with others and, collaborate, it's just so much fun. Even like when you're providing therapy and even if you're receiving therapy, it could be fun and just feel really good no matter what space you're in with that. So I'm all for it. I just, I'm feeling those kind of appreciation of things. Hi, Sharon. I love the flower and the purple heart. Michelle loves her purple, so you're all about that.
She's on it. She is on it. Danica, thank you so much. Yes, offering the prayers. Rebecca Jones, thank you for tuning in tonight. So we just here, just briefing up. This is our monthly talk. I just want to give, even in the situation that has happened, Samara from the therapeutic side, journaling how from the therapeutic side, tell the audience just how important it is to do some journaling in your way of it's an art, really, because that can actually turn into something else, correct?
So with journaling, everyone assumes that you journal based with words, but as an art therapist, I really incorporate art journaling, which is just like having a notebook. You put in your own kind of doodles, colors, textures, um, mediums, like you could paint on it, color it with like crayons or markers or Sharpies. Um, what's really great about journaling is that it's your opportunity just to put whatever you're thinking, like those little like thought blurbs or just like a moment that hits you in a certain way. You want to get that documented and you don't want to lose sight of that. So you're physically putting it on a piece of paper so that you physically don't lose sight of it. That's really essentially what it's all about. And I'm sure also like with lyrics and visualization, just like with any kind of thought and approach, journaling's a great way to do that. We even journal sometimes when we do like grocery lists. Like that's how misunderstood journaling is. Journaling is really just like writing down any thought process or presenting any thought process. And I think it's a really great opportunity, more so than others. Like for you, if it's private, then you keep it close to you. Like you don't necessarily share what you put in your journal, or even like what we used to call a diary back in the day. I don't know if you guys had diaries. I never got into diaries, honestly. I just like wanted those kits where I could decorate the book, but I never write in them. Which is, I'm dropping the ball on that. I'll be super real about that. Like they're a great way to really address and just like keep close thoughts to your heart. So, I'm all for it. I love doing art journals just because I think I could like play around with different colors or paints, even watercolor paints. Like I could just throw a bunch of different shades and colors around there, and that's calming to me. And in some ways, that's where coloring books come in. That's an art journal. So I'm all about journaling. Did you ever get into journaling? I don't know, either of you. Like, do you have a songbook, DJ Moscato? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or like tunes, like you write down like musical notes and you just like feel things out.
I just have list of songs. That's pretty much it.
Playlist. That's a journal.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, it's a journal. It counts just because like you're documenting and you're putting things that are close to you. And even that's why the profession, a journalist, is a journalist, because you're like literally documenting and like jotting down like different important points that you're presenting out there. But in some cases, not everyone has to do it consistently. It's really something that you could like keep in your purse, like those tiny little baby booklets. And if someone writes something, like says something, or like they say, hey, write this down, it's kind of like a portable Post-it notebook, you know, like there's just so many ways you can incorporate journaling. I hope that answers your question.
And it's good because, you know, we have some people who have on here like Rebecca Jones, and she says, I do art. She said, I do art. Yes. So Samara, let me tell you, we'll share the experience. I think actually for break time, I'm going to talk about our first encounter, how we became co-partners with this.
How we became attached to the hip at this point, because so much time has passed since then when we like really got to know each other, right. And how we really got to collaborate ever since.
Yeah. So speaking of lyrics, you mentioned lyrics. So DJ Moscato, I'm gonna let you hit something on the ones and twos right yet for the audience. Just give them a little hits, and then we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Everything is in this place. Peace of mind, great. I'm so blessed. Yes, yes, yes.
Look at that art.
Yes, 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 yes. My soul is born healthy and beautiful. I'm so sad. Yes, yes. My mama's on the right side, daddy on my left. My son, father doing this absolute. I'm so blessed, blessed, blessed. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really like how you use the beat. I really like it. I really like it.
So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, and we're going to hear more about how art therapy is actually good for your mental health. So stay tuned, sit back, go grab some tea, and come right back. Self-care and self-knowledge, understanding yourself is the foundation stone of self-care. There is no one size that fits all. Emotions, being in touch with and expressing yourself is vital. Let it go. Let it go. Resentment is toxic that can rob you at your present happiness. Focus on the good. Gratitude is one of the most effective actions. Commit. Oh, yes, commit. It is the one thing that's going on in your commitment to your well-being. Accept. We all tolerate people, places, and things. Accept the positive differences. Oh, here we come into relax. boost your system to thrive. Thrive, thrive, and thrive. This is the sincere jazz of the self-care anthem. Welcome back to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden. And that right there was my original song that just released, Self-Care Anthem. So we all need to be taking in self-care. You can actually download that, stream it from all streaming, Apple Music, Spotify. You can actually find that, YouTube it.
If you find music, it's there.
It's there, and more is coming. So that was like a soft release to do for, mental health awareness, because it all starts with the self-care. Correct. And that's what we're going to talk about, with self-care. And so
where to begin?
where are we going to go with this one, with the self-care regimens? Because self-care can be different for everyone,
You know what? I think I have a good idea.
Yeah, like for me, self-care is not selfish. No, it is not. I'm telling you, I'm planning a getaway in a couple hours from now. And trust me, self-care is on the regimen. The next day, as soon as I get to where I'm at, there is a spa treatment on the road.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Must be nice. That's awesome.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, with self-care, with mental health, why is it so important?
Well, that's a loaded question, but let's really just begin with what self-care could mean for a person. For a lot of folks, people think that they have to do something to tackle a need in some way, but really in reality, self-care could just be as simple as doing something that you enjoy and that's fun for you. And people don't give the fun things in their hobbies that recognition because they think, oh, it's just for fun, or like, oh, it's social. But no, that's self-care. That's really going out of your way to establish the things that make you not just feel good, but also like give you that enjoyment. So, for a lot of folks that are especially creatives, that's why art therapy is so appreciated, because it's a really underratedly safe way to do something fun, but also something that's positive and reassuring for yourself. So I think, when it comes to self-care, I think I always try to establish like, well, what do you like to do for fun? Or like, what gives you that pleasant feeling of that you're enjoying your time and that you're doing something for yourself? Because also in respect to that, going to the doctors, eating well, those are all really important factors with self-care. Listening to really influential music because that fits the environment in a lot of ways. I like to throw it back at you, DJ Moscato, because I could do a lot of the talking, but I want to make sure you get some vocals and your own impressions of this as well, because I want you to be part of the conversation. I'm sure that you, like every one of us, relates to this in a lot of ways.
As you know, I find my comfort in music. Once upon a year, I could say I used to watch my brother, who would do everything and listen to me. I'm like, how he do that? Now I'm at the age where I can't do too much without music. So that's pretty much my therapy. If I need to, I can cry. If I need to just get up and dance, I get up and dance. If I just laugh because it brings back something funny, I laugh.
It's so important that you have that connection with where you were and that kind of recap on memory on things that were maybe really pleasant or things that were really hard to deal with. And in a lot of ways, even for some people visually, just like looking at a picture or a screen or like moving images and looking at people, like having a conversation, or just like, how people watch? You guys know what I'm talking about with that? It's so underrated, but it's really good for self-care because it really indicates what you like about the things that you're seeing or what you don't like about the things that you're seeing. I mean, not that it requires much judgment, but if you just look, you sit on a bench, you visualize like what's going on, you see like the cute doggies just like running around at the dog park, or like you see the birds, like you see people, let's say, skateboarding down on the little path, or just like you just breathe. Right. That's really what it's all about. And the reason why I bring that up is because that's part of mindfulness. Self-care is a really big component when it comes to being mindful and knowing exactly where you are, whether you're safe, whether you're happy, whether you're actually maybe a little hungry or thirsty, or like you need to, refresh in some way. And you know what? Sharon brought this up beautifully, just being yourself. It's the best form of self-care, like being the most genuine version of yourself, being really open-minded to what you do and where you go and how you are where you go. Like these are all really great opportunities. Even just like window shopping, funny enough, like window shopping for me calms me because I'm like, oh, I don't need to spend that money, but that's really good. It's there for someone. Like, I don't know. I think that's just like me, but point is that self-care comes in so many different forms. Who you are is unique, so your self-care is going to be unique. Granted, people could relate to it, but not everyone could, copy and paste it for themselves. Like not everyone's going to take it and run in that same exact direction. They may like veer off in a different way, which is appreciated at the same time. Not like in your little mantra, not one size fits all. But the size that fits you is the best fit for you. So I think that's like a really good way of kind of feeling that out. And, there's so many things out there that you could browse and pick apart, like even different therapies. Like there's so many different ways that people could say like, I care a lot, or like, I need to take care of myself. There are literally like so many different ways that you could eloquently say that, or you could not say it so eloquently. You could literally just be like, piss off, and someone would be like, okay, you need to take care of yourself. Like you get that space. All right. And that's part of navigating the cool parts of life. So I'm all for self-care, hence why I'm here. I just try to like really allow people to see it from as many different perspectives as they can if they're tuning into this, because there's so many great ways to appreciate just those things about you and what makes you in that way you, right? So that's really it in that scope.
So Rebecca said from the last segment, and thank you again for joining us, Rebecca. I really do appreciate that. Rebecca had said earlier that she has written down stuff. She has 10 years worth of calendars that she has still have stuff written down on.
Oh my
And
God.
I thought I was the only one who do that. So she said I have calendars from 10 years ago that I have written things on. That is amazing.
Incredible.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I thought I'd do that because I do that at work. I write a lot of stuff on my calendar. They like scribble, scrabble, and I save them because
But
again, that resource that I need for that person, I can come right back to it.
some people also save like really old newspaper articles or like magazine covers, like different things that make a big impact in their history, which is so cool. If you think about it, because that we're literally walking timelines.
Right.
So we're just experiencing things as they happen. And then we reflect on it like maybe a year or two later. We're like, oh, shucks, that really was a big deal. And I have that, article still, but now everything's on the internet, but still it's like something to reflect on. And I would make an album of all of those calendar fixings, like ones, especially for months that like make a really big difference. Like especially if May is a big deal for you, I would keep an album of like all the Mays from those 10 years and have like each page be like a different year from that month. That would be really cool. Just a food for thought out there. Old cards are amazing. They always bring my heart a lot of joy. I also then judge myself like, wow, how did I write so terribly? And I still write this terribly. Like I should have gotten better handwriting by then, but I love it. I think all these things are like a really good representation of how we feel just about ourselves and self-care. I think we lost Michelle.
It looks like it.
It's okay. Me and you, we could pick this up. We got this. So when Michelle returns, one of the things that we really love to just share conversation with is our passions. So knowing that music obviously is in your name, it's your passion. Give us a really good idea on how you got to that place and the blessings that you've encountered with the music that you not only provide for others, but is provided to you.
I think I fell in love with music as a child. That was one of my first loves. I didn't realize it at that time, but I was raised in a household that it was a lot of music. I remember music more than I remember TV shows. And it was a lot of house parties. I was always the youngest one invited, but it was house parties. So my brother is a big inspiration. He loves music, and he would go back and forth with me, kind of like quizzing me all the time. How many songs he know more versus how many songs I know, and we would just sit up and just do this all night. And then different videos. We used to watch video music box. I think that's the name of the song. At times I was young, I couldn't stay up. He would record those videos. Saturday mornings we'd be, what you get last night? We'd be just eating cold pizza. Saturday mornings watching videos. So music is a big part of my life now. It's a big part. Like I'm at work, earbuds in. People talking to me, I don't hear you because I hear my music. So yeah, I've learned to love music. I need to try to start venturing out because I love old school stuff. I'm not a big fan of the new stuff. I'm trying to appreciate some of it.
That's nice of you.
I'm kind of like showing my age because you listen as your age. You listen to your music when you were younger, and your parents were like, "Oh my God, I wish you turned that stuff." I'm at that age now. I can't listen to too much of it. So I need to venture out. I know that, but
okay.
I'm comfortable where I'm at, but there's other music out there that I could probably enjoy if I give myself a chance.
It's important that you know that about yourself. Like, what you got going for you, but at least you're still open-minded to like know what else could possibly be out there. I mean, aside from us being old and thinking that the new stuff is trash anyways, but that's for a whole nother segment on like how things are just not what they used to be, and that's fine. We could be old geezers about that, but it's also it's a nice way to reflect and tune in on what's relevant and why it's relevant. Like, why is this new stuff so relevant? Because back in the day, what was really cool for us, why was that relevant too? You know what I mean? So I get that. I hope Michelle is okay. She is having some difficulty getting back on. So without further ado, why don't we take a short break just to make sure that everyone can get back on smoothly. And then unless, do you have a little jam that you want to show us or play for us?
I can play something.
Throw in a little something. We're just putting everyone on the spot today. It's all good.
I'm having a private party. Learning how to love me. Celebrating the woman I've become. Yeah. I tried to call my mother, but she didn't get where I was going. I called my boyfriend and he said, call me back a little late, baby. I hung up the phone and felt so alone. Started to feel a little pity. That's when I realized I got a private joy inside me. I'm having a private party. Ain't nobody here but me and my angels and my guitar singing, baby, look how far we've come. I'm having a private party. Learning how to love me. Celebrating the woman I've become. Yeah. I'm gonna take off all my clothes.
I guess that's trying to tell me to take a self-care.
This is literally you tuned in. You made your grand re-entrance as she's like having this song about female empowerment. Like, can it not be any more planned out?
It's raining here, and this is what happens when it rains. It has never happened before. And then I had new stuff go on. So it's just, it is what it is. But
the show anyway, must go on, and
the show's gonna go on. The showstopper. Word it up. Oh gosh. So, but yeah. So this is just a little bit of brief of what we're gonna talk about, but I just wanted to come on and just say tonight that, I want people to be aware of their mental health, because there's a lot of things that's happening and a lot of approaches that are that people are just losing it over. But that's why it's important to take the self-care and understand what your self-care is. And when something you said before about laughter, Sharon had put on about laughter, and she did tell me this Saturday. And actually, if you have to go back and watch last week, I had comedian Alabama on last week, and if you want to get some laughs, you can go back and view last week's show. But actually, I had him perform for us. Look, there's his information. Please go follow him. If you're down, this will bring you around. I'm telling you, he was hilarious. I'm still laughing about him from last week. And then the weekend he performed. I had him come and perform, and it was phenomenal. And we're going to do some more collaborations and stuff together with that as well. Some big stuff coming up. Some big stuff going to be coming up. Awesome. But when we talk about the self-care, Samara, and I know Rebecca just mentioned it about getting away and relax. I am due for that, because I do have this warm your heart, warm your mind, and warm your soul retreat that I usually do yearly. But, due to COVID, we couldn't do it. I did it virtually, but I'm hoping that we can get back into that space, maybe in the fall, November, to do it, the little safe haven with the self-care, have you come in again about the art. Yes, So that's we just need to. I know you're gonna be on your honeymoon a little bit.
I probably won't be at that time. Money is something that we have to be a little more mindful of too. But wherever you need me, we'll make it work.
Yeah, so just being I just want to share with the audience when she talks about the art therapy, because that is her specialty, art therapist. We had a retreat back in 20, I think it was, 2020, where we went to a Deep Creek, Maryland. We rented a house, and I think it was like 8 of us, 12 of us, or something like that. And Samara came in as the art therapist, and we did art therapy. This is how me and her then connected, and it was a very powerful experience. So again, that's why I'm saying journaling is some messages in that journaling and doodling stuff that you can really encounter. So I want to say that you got to look at this, because it was phenomenal what she done. She actually asked us a question. Oh, you know what? Maybe we can give them a little shot. If you have a piece of paper, you want to try that?
Let's do it.
Yep.
You know what? I have an idea.
Go ahead.
As people are tuning in, if they want to grab a piece of paper, or if they even just like loose leaf, a pen, whatever works for them. Or what we could do to really interact with one another is we will write down something that we feel like is the first thing that's on our minds right now. It doesn't have to be anything specific. So Michelle, let's practice on you. So you have your paper and your pen. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is, I would love for you to, first word without any hesitation, just jot it down without saying anything. Both of you. Yes. Then what's going to happen is you're going to flip over the paper. Very good. And then the next thing that's going to come to mind is a way to describe what you wrote down. Without saying anything, I want you to feel out what you wrote down. So, for example, I know this will be like really silly, but let's say you are feeling, or the first thing that comes to mind is, I'm a little chilly. Then on the other side, you're gonna kind of describe in some way like what that looks like to you when someone's feeling chilly, right? So even if you wrote something like hunger, dinner time, like any of those kind of thoughts, on the other side, I want you to really show a visual description of what that looks like. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the reason why I want you guys to do this is because you were able to really evaluate the first thing that came to your mind, that first feeling or thought, and you're putting it down on paper. And then when you hold it up, you're going to reestablish why that came to your mind. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Let's feel it out. And while you guys are also tuning in and feeling, hearing this activity and kind of seeing it be played out, this is a good way of you being resourceful. So even if you don't have a pen or a paper in front of you, or you just don't want to get up, that's fine too. The best way to do this visually in your head, or just like feel this out, I like to use a lot of GIFs and memes, funny enough. So like while we're on the computer, all I'm going to have you do, and I could demonstrate at some point, is I want you to do a Google search. Let's say you're thinking about your pet or cats, and you need something that like reminds you of your cat. So you can look up like funny cat memes, or like, let's say you're feeling a little sassy or feisty, and you had like a funny moment that happened, or you're feeling some type of way. All you need to do is just Google that type of way. You just Google it with a meme, and then you'll be surprised how many people out there are feeling that way too, and they have put it on a meme or on a GIF. These kind of visual cues and emotions are awesome. And when I do telehealth therapy at the time, especially with like different kinds of people, I always use those kind of expressions to connect with them. And that's a big part of self-care. because you are really establishing like what's funny to you. Like, how do you relate to others around you? What makes you feel good? Like, what makes you like, oh, so true. Yeah, I remember. Like, you kind of get that like aha kind of feeling, you know? Even, and you know what, DJ Moscato, I want to challenge you on this. When you get a moment, I want you to, even outside of this, I want you to look up on Google like funny music memes and see what you get, because I feel like that would actually be hysterical. I'm going to do it at the same time. You know what? While I'm on the browser here, I'm literally going to do that.
I did mine. I've done the word love came up to mind, and I did a heart.
Aww.
So
Okay.
I pulled up love memes, and these are
yes.
Yes. Jennifer Bishop says, I take pictures of the sunsets and the moons or the kids and make memes or apply scriptures to them. Jennifer, let me tell you, you're right on it, because every time when I go somewhere for a vacation, that is one of my things to do, is to take the sunset or the sunset or anything of nature for that. So that I do that too. See, it's a lot of like related.
I love it.
A lot of like related paste, in here. Yeah.
There's so many. You know, what's awesome about memes is that they really relate. What do you got for us?
I really don't know what the devil's going on here. I don't know. It says it's a man playing the guitar, and it says, "Hey, baby, are you AC major scale? Because you look so natural to me."
I saw that one too. I literally just, if you know music and you geek out about it, that's actually hysterical. Or like
Jennifer Bishop says, God's art. You're right. God's art. That is it. And that's the masterpieces planned. Yes. This is fun. So I hope, how many of you have tried doing this? See, look, you got a little activity here that you can do for self-care, whatever comes to your mind. She just gave you something else to do. See,
this one's hysterical where it says, I'll be.
That one too.
That's hysterical. It takes a lot of wit. Like, it's really funny to like see these kind of things. Like, if there's something like really, you know, relatable about finding these kind of common things that are hysterical.
That is
like, this one's literally hysterical where it's like the club can't even handle me right now.
So that is, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing. And again, Samara, I thank you for your gift, and I thank you for saluting your time, you know, here with that. And I'm looking forward to spending some more time with us working together on different things.
It means so much that you say that, Michelle. Thank you. It's really appreciated.
Yes. And again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to send an email to Samara Self Care Corner, which is selfcarecorner01@gmail.com.
I'm still waiting for emails.
Make use of that. I mean, you know what? The first person who sends her an email and she gets back to me, I will actually give you one of my coloring books that just affirmation self-care coloring book. So the first person who emails her with a question.
I get them on my phone, y'all. So you gotta hurry up.
We got a couple more minutes. So we want to make use of that email. Please send her an email.
But yeah, I mean, back to the self-care kind of aspect, like doing something as simple as like thinking of a concept and just searching for it online, because the power of the internet is so extreme. Knowing that there's other people out there in the world that probably have thought the same thing and that have put it in some kind of visual that we could all relate to. It's a really powerful connection. And it really makes us feel like we're not alone in some of those thoughts. Funny how that could, you know, be really positive, but it also could be something that you have to tread lightly with. The internet could also be a scary place. So if you're feeling some things that you really aren't sure about how to navigate, talk to someone that you really trust, or, be with it, because that's part of mental health. It's not always rainbows and sunsets and butterflies and funny music memes. A lot of it could also be like really heavy. A lot of it
Yes.
could be really sad, and that's okay. But when it becomes not okay is the moment where it stops you from seeing those rainbows and sunsets and funny memes. And that's why I always try to encourage people that if I meet with them and they're feeling really sad or they're feeling really unsure of themselves and who they are, I always try to reassure them and make sure they're safe first, because you never know where they are and how they're dealing with these things. Naturally, you want to make sure that they're in the safest space. And if they're not, you want to encourage them to get into a safe space. And that's where even just like having access to a smartphone, looking up silly pictures or like, goofy cats, whatever else brings joy to your heart, that's important. Even looking at pictures of your family. And yeah, TikTok is really where it's at these days, especially during the pandemic. There's so many videos that are hysterical. And the reason why is because everyone relates to those commonalities. And that's
Yes.
where we all feel like really good about each other.
Yes.
If you also look up like funny work memes or like work related TikToks, those are hysterical. And just if you have a thought, put it out there, see what comes up when you do these really simple searches. That's the simplest form of, I guess, creative arts therapy you could get. It's so accessible. I'm actually hoping to do a workshop of that at some point in the city where we learn how to like access gifs and memes and digital media and creative spaces. So yeah, it's really important just knowing what you have access to and knowing how to really provide the best use of it. So, I mean, the reason why I asked you also in the beginning to write down the first thing that comes to mind is because I'm trying to encourage you not to second guess those things. Like, oh, I don't know. Like, there's that hesitancy. Nope, 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 nope. Put it down there. Figure it out. You got this. Love is in Michelle's heart right now. And she drew that heart. That's what came to her mind visually. And there's no going back from that. And, you just want to like really uplift that if possible. So, I mean, I'm all for it. I love it.
You see, that was just a taste audience of what she does, because I'm telling you, her interpretations are wonderful. Like
Thank
we
you.
as a group, we had a wonderful time with that. That interpretation is great. Lisa Dove says, watch TikTok. That will make you really laugh. And she says, my husband and I watch until our phones go dead.
There is never enough battery power on your phone to like get through those TikToks. Like they're so funny. There are also like some really good like comedy skits that just really highlight how funny even like the most awkward situations are. And I love them because they're just so realistic. Like
Right.
you make fun of like the funniest situations that you didn't realize were hysterical. And you bring like a really creative light to them, and you're just like, oh wow, I feel that, like that hit. Okay, like I feel personally like watched right now because I like get it so much. So there are some great outlets out there. You don't have to have too much in front of you, but you don't want to lose sight of what you have in front of you. That's where it's at.
Right. So DJ Moscato, we can ask you to give us one more, and then we're gonna wrap it on up for this week's episode.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to encourage yourself.
Sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. And no matter how you speak the word, you will be healed. Speak on yourself. Trust yourself in the
You encourage.
Do you have a Spotify profile or anything that anyone here
do.
can follow?
I do.
I know you do, Michelle, but does DJ Moscato?
She need to get one. So, audience, we like DJ Moscato. Thank you so much for tonight, and you're coming on to this season 2. We're almost wrapping up season 2 because next month will be the last for a couple of months, and we're gonna take a little break because again, that's the self-care. Next month will be our last month until September. But I want to appreciate you for coming on, and she just played a powerful song too. If you can't get it from, you think you want to get it from your people, but sometimes you just got to encourage yourself. So those are some powerful words right there. You have to encourage yourself, even in the times of trial, still encourage yourself. And that's the most important thing. But before we go, I just want to ask, this is another exercise that I want to give out to the audience for those who are watching.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, close your eyes. At least in your mind, put 10 things that you need to get done within the next day.
10's a lot, Michelle.
You still hold those 10 things, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, open your eyes. Now, in those 10 things, did you put yourself at the top of the list?
Yes.
Okay. I just want you to remind that. So, yeah. We think about everything else, but please try to figure in ourselves for our own mental care, for our own mental health awareness.
I think it's also really important that you involve yourself with those things. It's so great that you want to think of others and care for the people around you. But if you're not involved with that, there's no point. And there's no greater satisfaction you'll get if you don't give yourself that credit of being present with that and being involved with that. So with those 10 things, I thought immediately it was a lot because I try often to really spread out the importance of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something to also keep into consideration. Rebecca pointed out that everything I have to do in the next 10 days, yes, it's surrounding other people, but also take part of where you are with those people.
Right.
Really make sure that
She
you're
said
really
10 things.
no, yeah, I knew that. I was picking up. I got you there, Rebecca. But it is so important that when you, whether it's 10 things or 10 days, where are you going to be? Who are you going to be with? Are you going to be on your own, or are you going to be with someone that you really appreciate? And you know what? Even if we do try to satisfy everyone else, the best hope that we could give and that compassion we could give, that we should give to ourselves, is that we're there for them. So really take ownership of the fact that, yes, you're so genuine, you want to care for everyone else, and you want to have the same respect given to you. So, that could be another segment, the balance of giving and receiving, or taking and providing. Okay.
We can do that next month. So we'll tag in later and talk about when it is, and I'll make the announcement. Yeah, giving and receiving next week. Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be it. That'll be it.
Go.
So again, thank you, ladies, for joining me tonight on this segment of Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. I love you guys. Love you guys. And to the audience, I just want to say thank you so much for your support. Like and share. Bring one or two with you again next week. But I also want you to this is my mantra. So, ever since I had Dr. Shawlee from India on here, which was a great segment. I have did this mantra ever since this year, and it was just the beginning of it. And it was to say, if no one has told you that you are loved, just know that you are loved here at the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. Until next week, be blessed and be safe.